Listen up. If you fucking with tattoo fitness mindset, like, subscribe, and share so you can continue to hear this energy. Let's go. What's up, everybody? It's Saturday morning. Woke up with a purpose because I'm chasing my why, right? So you got to figure out what your why is, man. Listen, it's never too late to be great, all right? 38 years old. I was released from prison at 27 years old. I mean, I'm tripping. 37, my bad. But anyway, so after 17 years, you know, it was a minor setback for a major comeback. A lot of y'all say, damn, 17 years is a long time. Yeah, but it actually, in essence, it kind of saved my life, right? Because I was living a destructive life like some of you might be. You know, maybe you're not on the road to prison, but maybe you're in your prison in your own mind as far as consuming alcohol and drugs and stuff like that, like I was at one time. You know, I didn't focus too much on exercise, didn't focus on self-betterment and self-mastery and understanding the mind, right? It took me times to go through these hard times, these dark places like you might be in right now, in order to get to the light, figure out my why, and what is my purpose here. My purpose is, I figure out my calling is to help other people get out of the darkness and get into the light, become successful, become better men, and really overall, you know, mindset, you know, have that resilient mindset and be grateful for where you are. You know, there was times I was even grateful being in a cell just because I would have bread coming, you know, and there's other people that are less fortunate than you. So understand you are where you are for a reason, but you do not have to be there. Don't have to stay there. You can free your mind from that by setting yourself up with a routine and structuring your life in a manner where you're striving for greatness, right? Like I said, I'm 37 years old. I'm 38 now. I've been home about 15 months and I've accomplished a lot. I'm not going to go into all the details of my accomplishments, but just know that I've helped a lot of people get on the right track, and that we're in darkness, get to the light. And how you do that is by being consistent. First, you figure out your why. Why are you doing what you do? You know, are you on a self-destructive path, or are you building yourself for greatness? In order to build yourself for greatness, you have to be putting the proper foods in your body. You have to be drinking plenty of water. You have to exercise. And then this comes back to your why. Why are you doing this? When your why becomes greater than your why not, that's when you can really start to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Like, my goal was, my first year home, to become the #1 coach in the world in UFC, and boom, I smashed that goal, surpassed everybody all around the world with little gym floor experience, just the experience that I acquired through the 17 years of prison, studying, reading, educating myself. You know, you got people with college, doctorate degrees that know very little about fitness, and this is where I come in, you know, and mindset. You know, they're just told, do this, do that, like robots. I'm not saying that's a wrong path, but you need to learn to think for yourself. You know, you need to come up with quick decisions, quick answers, quick solutions, because time is of the essence, right? So you don't want to be wasting time. You want to make your day purposeful, right? I've been using my Google Calendar, and this has helped me structure my day, you know, the time I go to sleep, the time I wake up, the time I study, when I have my clients, when I have my family time. All this is on my calendar so I can know exactly what I do. That's one less thing I got to worry about. You know, a lot of you know, really worried about materialistic things, man. And me, I keep it simple. Every time you see me, 95% of the time you see me in the same attire. I got my coach gear on. I mean, you know what I'm saying? My coach, my stopwatch. You know, that's my signature. That's my brand. I'm a coach. That's what I do. I help people get fit. I help them get mentally stronger. I help them get out of the darkness and get into the light. and figure out what works for them as far as macros, training programs, training splits. Like I said, years and years of studying this on lockdown, reading countless of muscle development magazines, muscle fitness, flex, bodybuilding encyclopedias from Arnold, Huge and Freaky, the Supple Leopard, mobility, everything that can help make a man physically stronger will actually help you become mentally stronger. So it's important you do that. Yes, you see me drinking coffee. They say coffee is linked to a longer lifespan anyway, and so is more muscles. So if you want to live longer, be healthier, get some fucking muscles, all right? Leg muscles, very important. With a lot of us men, we neglect our weak ass little fucking dick legs. Why? Because it sucks sometimes in the beginning, but your leg strength correlates to how long you live. Now, I'm currently about 205 pounds. My squat is about 505 pounds, which is pretty impressive, Not the strongest in the world, but I'm pretty damn strong. My bench press is right under 2 times my body weight. Benching about 400 pounds, weighing in at about 205. So, and all this is possible by progressively overloading, working hard, and having that mindset. You're not gonna go from benching 135 pounds to fucking 400 pounds in a year, 2 years. This took me about 20 years of hard work, dedication, not missing a meal, not missing a workout, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, Rest. You cannot neglect your rest, man. Your sleep is very important. I find that I'm more productive in my hours that I'm awake if I get 8 hours of sleep. Okay, there's few individuals that can function properly with less, but majority of us, we need those 8 hours to be productive, right? So you look at it like this. So say you're on 3 hours of sleep. You're walking around in a drunken state. You're not at your full capability. Your work is trash. Everything you're doing is half-assed. But had you had taken the time and had the discipline to go to sleep when you were supposed to go to sleep, because you have to wake up when you have to wake up, your day's going to be so much more productive. You're going to be more attentive to your clients, your friends, your family, everything. You're going to be able to get a lot of shit done in your hours that you are awake, opposed to being in that drunken state and then half-assing it. Even though you get an extra 3-4 hours to do something, you are not as productive as if you were rested. So, I just wanted to drop a few little simple jewels. The key things to this was find your why, your discipline, your health, and it's not too late. You can be 40 years old and watching this right now and you're tired of being depressed, working the same job and you're ungrateful for what you have, instead of appreciating the things that you do have and then working towards what you want. Like I said, you are where you are for a reason, okay? If you see yourself somewhere, you cannot just see yourself somewhere and think it's magically going to appear. You have to work towards this. Yes, the power of manifestation and the law of attraction is real when you apply it properly with the right amount of work. And like I said, the universe is not going to deny you if you continue to work hard and you never give up. The only way that you're going to fail to become a victim of your own mind, and your mind tells you to give up and quit. You can be 40, you can be 50, you can be 35, you can be a young man in your 20s, right? It's not too late, man. Time flies by in the blink of an eye. Were you here just to be average, or were you here to be great? I know God didn't make me just to be average. He put me through this fire and this amount of pressure that I've been through in my life to create a diamond, to create a warrior, to create somebody who's unbreakable, that is gonna help other people. You know, like every time I see, you know how many messages I get every day? Like, Dominic, I'm feeling amazing. It's only been 2 weeks. I'm already stronger. I'm looking better. Yes, because you're putting in the work. Now, it doesn't matter how much money you give me. Like I told my client, I train him 5 days a week. Bro, it doesn't matter if you give me $1 million a month. If you're not here and you don't give it 110%, I cannot change you. So if you show up, it's time to show out and put that work in. You know, you can't be doing those bitch-ass, weak-ass workouts and expect your body to change. And you can't be half-assing it and have your mind all over the place. You need to focus and dial in. So another quick tip is be where your feet are. If you're in the fucking gym, be in the gym. If you're in prison, motherfucker, you're in prison. Be where you are. If you are out here in the world and you're spending time with your family, spend time with your family. You know, that way you can be more attentive to your present situation and you can get the most out of it. If I'm in the gym and I'm thinking about, say, my daughter the whole time, right? My mind and my focus is no longer on this gym, and I'm not able to give it 110%, which is needed. Or let's say I'm with my daughter, but my mind is wandering. You got to grab your attention and place it back where it needs to be, because those are precious moments that you can't really get back, right? It's kind of easier said than done, but it can be done. And it needs to be done, you know. But as far as, you just got to know what your why is, man. And a lot of people say balance. Let me tell you something about balance. What balance gets you is a balanced lifestyle, an average lifestyle. If you want to be great in anything, there's going to be some imbalances, okay? There's going to be people who tell you, dude, you know how many people don't want to see you win? Even the ones closest to you. A lot of times they don't want to see you win. And in order to overcome that, you got to kind of close that ear. You listen, let that shit go out, because you don't want that negative self-talk to start going on and on and on in your brain, because it's going to slow down your progress. You know, like a lot of people told me, don't be a coach, you ain't going to make no money. Got me fucked up. I knew what I can do. I know my value. You know what I'm saying? People told me I would never get my GED. Got my GED. People told me I was going to be in prison the rest of my life. Guess they were wrong. You know, they said I would never change. And then you got those people who say, damn, bro, you switched up, you changed, you ain't real no more. Nigga, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole purpose is to change and become better. If not, you're going to stay the damn same for the rest of your life. You're going to still live in that little ass motherfucking shack with 4 or 5 family members sleeping on the couch, sleeping on the floor. You know what I mean? Drug infested, mind polluted, people suffering from addictions. You got to remove yourself from the problem, okay, in order to start progressing. You got to have tunnel vision, man. You know what I'm saying? That tunnel vision is where your growth is going to start happening. That tunnel vision, where you look and you see that star, and you get on that rocket ship and you shoot for the fucking stars, man. You know? Shit, if fuel runs out, at least you land on the moon. You know? But if you stay where you're at in that same environment, and people doing drugs and people who are not like-minded. That's why I made this move to Miami, because where I was at, so many people, I just do this, do that. Bro, I don't want the little house with the picket fence and just pay rent and just get by. No, motherfucker, I'm gonna thrive, you know? I wanna have and be able to make a serious change in a majority of the population. Like, trickle down effect. Me helping 10 and those 10 helping 10. What is that? It's 100. Now what happens when each one of those 100 individuals that you help reach another 10? That's 1,000. And so on and so on. Exponentially, I can change a lot of people. With what? With fucking discipline. Hard work. Believing in yourself. Even when nobody else does, believe on yourself. One thing I know, unless you're a fucking idiot, you ain't gonna tell on yourself. You know, that kind of goes back to, it's not like you're gonna be doing anything wrong, so you ain't gotta worry about telling or none of that shit. You know, all that crime shit, that shit's out the window. You better not think you're gonna make it doing crime, because these motherfuckers will tell on you. They do not want to do no time. You know, I've done a lot of time, and all them people in there with life sentences, bro, was told on 99% of the time by their mans, by somebody they fucking trusted. So the same homie you got right here next to you, and you think he's 1,000, and he probably even told you to go ahead and ride with him to do the robbery or do the murder. Then what happens? Shit hits the fan, and he's on the stand. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe to this so you can continue to hear more of my thoughts, my daily process, and how I deal with situations and overcome them. Let's go, baby, to the top. We're going.